Hi, my name is Shriya Nallaparaju, and I'm in 11th grade, and my science fair project for this year was about which brand of hand sanitizer is the most effective in killing microorganisms. So going straight into my project, I'm going to go over the abstract first. So the purpose of my experiment, like I said earlier, was to determine which of the most popular brands of hand sanitizer is the most effective in killing bacteria. So I decided to do this project because of the current COVID-19 outbreak and how that has changed how much we all use hand sanitizer. It's become more and more popular in the recent years, and I thought that it would be nice to have a project that allowed consumers to decide which brand of sanitizer would be best to use for them. So moving on from that, I'm going to go over my background research and my hypothesis. So first, for my hypothesis, I said that if a hand sanitizer contains alcohol at a concentration between 70 and 90% as its main active ingredient and it is medical grade, then it's going to be the most effective in eliminating microorganisms commonly found on the human hand. So my reasoning for that is shown in my background research. So alcohol is the main ingredient in all alcohol-based hand sanitizers, and it's used to kill microorganisms. So what alcohol does is it's able to attack the cell membrane specifically of bacteria, and in doing so it breaks apart the cell membrane and gets into the cell, and it's able to disrupt all of the genetic material and ultimately kill that bacteria. So that is why alcohol is commonly used in hand sanitizers, because it has this ability to, kill bacteria. And so that's why it's like a beneficial choice in sanitizer. So alcohol is more effective at higher concentrations, like from 60 to 90%. However, once you pass that 90% mark, it doesn't become much more effective after that. So for example, if you were to get pure 100% alcohol and just put that on your hands, that would be pretty ineffective in getting rid of microorganisms. Not only would it be extremely unsafe, but it would be less effective than hand sanitizers with an alcohol concentration between 60 and 90%. So, for that reason, in my hypothesis, I did state that hand sanitizers that have between 70 to 80%, which is kind of in between this range, of alcohol should be the most successful. Also, medical grade hand sanitizer is required to have less impurities than technical grade hand sanitizer, which is why I thought that it would be able to kill germs more easily. So now we can move on to the way that I conducted my experiment. So instead of showing this text, I think I'll just show some pictures. So what I did was I had 8 different brands of hand sanitizer. And so 4 of them were medical grade, 4 of them were technical grade, and I also had 8 different test subjects. So first I prepped 16 different petri dishes, and so then I randomly got like 8 different test subjects, and I assigned each of them a different hand sanitizer. So one test subject for each of them, what I did was I first swabbed their hand with a sterile swab, and then this was before any treatment had been applied to it, and then I rubbed it onto a petri dish. So once I did this, that became the control dish for the hand sanitizer that they would test. So the hand sanitizer that they would test was then applied to their hands, and I took another sterile swab and rubbed their hand and rubbed that swab on a petri dish. So once you have that, that is the experimental dish. So I did this for all 8 hand sanitizers, and I labeled all of them, as you can see here, and I let them all sit in an incubator for 5 days, and I recorded my results every single day for 5 days. And so now we can move on to the data and the results that I got from my experiment. So just to go over, so here are the sanitizer brands that I used. So for Pro Sanitize, I saw a 94% decrease in bacterial colonies. For Berkeley and Jensen, it was a 74% decrease. For Elixir Biotech, it was a 44% decrease. For Bloomin, it was a 20% decrease. For Suave, it was a 78% decrease. For Purell, it was 70%. For Clean Shape, it was 31%. And for Equate, due to some factors that I'll explain in a bit, it was undefined. So, by the way, the hand sanitizers that are medical grade are Pro Sanitize, Elixir Biotech, Bloomin, and Clean Shape, and the rest are technical grade. So keeping that in mind, here are some graphs that I made. Yes, keeping that in mind, we're going to now move on to the results. So one of the results that I very much expected was that Pro Sanitize, which is both medical grade and has a high concentration of alcohol, it's 70%, eliminated a large amount of bacteria. So it actually eliminated over 90% of the bacteria in its control dish, which was very impressive but also expected because, like my hypothesis stated, I thought that medical grade hand sanitizers and also ones that had a higher alcohol concentration would be the most effective in killing bacteria. Now, this and a few other things like Suave, Pure, and Purell were the only hand sanitizers that had extremely, good expected results. Now, there were other hand sanitizers that I went over, such as Bloomin', which had actually the same exact alcohol concentration as Pro Sanitize. However, it was only able to kill a fraction of the bacteria that Pro Sanitize could. It was only 20.31% that it killed. And so this was likely due to the fact that Bloomin' contains many more inactive ingredients than Pro Sanitize does. It has a bunch of aloe vera and also fragrances in order to, improve moisturization and stuff. And so I am assuming that is likely what interfered with the sanitizer's ability, specifically the alcohol's ability to kill microorganisms. Now, also I observed that Elixir Biotech had a similar outcome. Despite the fact that it had the highest concentration of all the hand sanitizers, it only eliminated 43.75% of microorganisms, and so I believe that the reason for this performance was due to the environment that it was placed in. So it was in a warm, sunny environment. It was in a hot car for an extended period of time because I had COVID and it got left in there for a while. And this exposure likely was what led to the alcohol becoming less effective. It likely degraded because of this. So I have one other result that I didn't expect, which was the Equate hand sanitizer result. So the experimental dish actually did grow one bacterial colony, but the control dish didn't grow any. And this is not a mistake. This is, in fact, the control dish, and this is the experimental. But I think that this mistake that happened was due to a sterile swab. So these results needed to basically be disregarded and eliminated for the rest of the project because of the mistake that I likely made during the experimentation. So now we can move on to the conclusions that I made from my experiment. So we're just going to go over the basic conclusions. I think that the hypothesis that I created prior to experimentation is partially correct. Given that there are no extreme circumstances, the sanitizers with a higher concentration of alcohol did tend to kill microorganisms than those with a lower alcohol concentration. However, whether or not the sanitizer was medical grade didn't really play that big of a role in how effective it was. There were several technical grade hand sanitizers that had a high alcohol concentration that did better than medical grade hand sanitizers that also had a high alcohol concentration. So I think it comes down to the alcohol and also the circumstances in which they're put, the environment, and yes, any mistakes that happen during experimentation. So yeah, like I said, some potential improvements that I could use is to, first of all, use a greater number of hand sanitizers to get more results, and also to eliminate any conditions that led to the failure of this experiment, such as exposure to sunlight for the hand sanitizers, and also, mistakes with the sterile swabs. I already went over this part. Here are my references. And yes, thank you for listening, and yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.